In the heart of Dallas, the season on the line, a warrior rises. Bloodied but unbowed, Anthony Davis wasn't just playing basketball tonight. He was waging war.
Wow, you really captured the intensity of that night.
It was something else, and that's what we're diving into today on the Deep Dive, folks. This isn't just another game recap. We're talking about a single, pivotal performance by Anthony Davis, a performance that had massive playoff implications for the Mavericks.
A performance that, as we'll see from the excerpts we've got, transcended the box score.
Exactly. We're going beyond the numbers, diving deep into the heart of this game, looking at the emotion, the impact, the moments that made it so much more than just a W in the standings.
You know, going into this, it's almost like Davis had a premonition. I mean, listen to this pregame quote. Whatever happens, happens. Just go out there and play with a lot of energy, a lot of force, a lot of dominance.
Chills, right? Talk about foreshadowing. He ended the night with 34 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks.
And those are just the raw numbers.
The story of this game, the real story, goes so much deeper.
It does. It starts with this huge dose of adversity right out of the gate.
Right. Early in the game, bam, disaster strikes. An accidental elbow from Gafford, blood everywhere, 4 stitches. The concern was palpable. Could this derail their entire night? You know, one of the sources said it perfectly, but Chicago kids, they're built tough.
It speaks volumes about his character, that line, doesn't it? That refusal to quit. And then there he is, back on the court with a bandage.
The source said crowd erupts, and you can just imagine that roar of relief.
That energy shift.
Klay Thompson, his teammate, said this after the game. We go as he goes, he's obviously our best player. It highlights just how crucial Davis is to this team.
And how devastating that injury could have been. You know, the pressure was already enormous.
Absolutely. But even with Davis back, bandaged up, they found themselves down 11 points in the third quarter.
You could forgive them for folding. Right?
Easy to just, throw in the towel. But then AD, this is where he really became the fire, to quote one of our sources.
That's a perfect description. The fire. Those sources talk about how he just took over. The post moves, those mid-range jumpers, block after block.
That energy, that momentum started to shift. What was it about that comeback phase, beyond just the scoring? What stood out to you?
It was the little things. Blocking a shot, sprinting down the court for a score, fighting through contact. That hustle, that determination, it's contagious. You could feel the crowd feeding off it.
It's that intangible thing, right? It's like he willed them back into the game, and then the moment everyone remembers, the game on the line, 3.4 seconds left, 1 shot to win it all.
I get chills just thinking about it.
The source describes it perfectly. Dribble drive, defender closing in, soft touch off the glass, swish. Crowd noise explodes, teammates mobbing Davis, he's roaring in triumph. A shot he's made 1,000 times, the source says, but none sweeter than this.
It's the context, right? The stakes, the injury, everything culminating in that single shot.
You said it. But remember, the game's not over. 3.4 seconds left is still an eternity in basketball.
An eternity for a team like the Hawks to respond.
Exactly. But listen to how the source describes this final stand. Davis lunging at Trae Young's last second 3. Ball in the air. Short. Mavericks win. That word, short, so final, so decisive. It wasn't just the offense, he sealed it with that defensive play.
It shows his complete game. So often we focus on scoring, but that last-second effort, that's just as crucial.
Absolutely. And his post-game reaction, it just adds another layer to this whole thing. He's smirking, he says, probably my first time getting cut open. Us Chicago kids are pretty tough. You can hear that toughness in his voice.
And he's still got that bandage on, that visual reminder of what he went through.
Our sources then shift to the team's outlook, and there's this sense of hope in the locker room. They're celebrating. A team once left for dead, now fighting for their playoff lives, one source says. There's even a quote from the team huddle, "We have enough to make some noise."
That one performance, it can change everything. You can feel the belief coming back.
And the narrator just nails it with his concluding thought. This was more than a game. This was a statement.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
The final image is Davis walking off the court, nodding to the Dallas crowd with "Dallas believes" on the screen.
That sums it all up, doesn't it? The hope, the belief.
It does. And that brings us to our final thought for you all listening. This was more than a game. This was a statement. Think about it. What kind of statement can one person make in a team sport? When something like this happens, what does it mean for the team moving forward?
We see these moments of grit, determination, but when do they become something more?
When do they transcend the sport itself? Think about those times you've seen players will have a real impact, not just on the game, but on the team, the fans, the whole atmosphere. That's what makes sports so amazing. Anthony Davis in Dallas, that was a perfect example.
That's a story we'll be talking about for years to come, I'm sure.
I think you're right. That's all the time we have for this deep dive, folks.
So until next time.
Thanks for listening. All right, so tonight we're going deep on a basketball game, but this isn't about some crazy score or a record-breaking performance.
No, not at all. You sent us some fascinating stuff on a Mavericks game, and it's really more about this incredible display of resilience.
Right, by Anthony Davis.
Exactly. Yeah, it sounds like this wasn't just your average game against the Hawks. There was a lot more on the line from what I read in the sources you shared.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like the Mavericks, they were fighting to keep their playoff hopes alive, and there were all those question marks surrounding Davis after his recent injury.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And then to see him come out like he did, it was pretty unbelievable. And I think one of the sources you sent really captured it. A bloodied warrior rises with 4 stitches and ice in his veins.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a powerful image right there.
It is, right? It just sets the stage for the whole story. And speaking of stories, even before the injury happened, Davis was already putting on a show.
Yeah, he was in the zone. 34 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks. That's a statement performance right there.
Absolutely dominating. And then it happens, this totally unexpected elbow to the face.
Ouch.
Yeah, he's bleeding. Needs 4 stitches right there on the sideline.
And a lot of players would call it a night right there. Head back to the locker room.
Totally. But not Davis. He comes right back into the game, and that's when things really get interesting.
Yeah, that's where the narrative shifts.
Yeah.
It becomes less about this dominant performance and more about this raw, gutsy effort.
One source used the term Chicago toughness, which I thought was pretty fitting.
Yeah, it speaks to that relentless determination to keep going even when you're hurting. And you can see it in the pictures. The pain on his face, he's giving it everything he's got.
One source even called him a one-man wall.
He was, blocking shots, grabbing rebounds, putting up points, all with a bandage on his eye. It's unbelievable.
It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of thing. And all of that just makes the ending of the game that much more impactful.
Oh, absolutely. The way he just refused to give up set the stage for an incredible finish.
So we're down to the wire. 3.4 seconds left on the clock. Mavericks are trailing by 2. You can feel the tension even just reading about it.
And then Davis drives to the basket, puts up a floater.
And it goes in.
Game winner. One of the sources described it as 20,000 hearts exploding. And you can just imagine being there in that moment, the energy, the roar of the crowd.
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Mavericks win 120-118, a truly remarkable victory.
And another source put it perfectly. They wrote him off. They'll never make that mistake again.
It wasn't just about the win, it was a statement.
For sure.
It's the kind of story that just makes you think.
Absolutely. And it's what we love to unpack here on the deep dive, right?
And aha moments.
Those insights into human potential. I mean, to see an athlete perform at that level with that much heart through pain, it's inspiring.
What drives someone to push themselves like that, to overcome adversity, and not just succeed, but to excel? It really makes you wonder what we're all capable of if we tap into that inner strength.
Food for thought, for sure, and a perfect place to wrap up this deep dive. So until next time, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this was a great one.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right, take care.
You too.
See you next time.
Bye.